Welcome to Sense Campus. In this session we will discuss the basics of the POPI GRC product and how to implement it in your business. Step 1. Print the 5 volumes of your POPI GRC product. Create 4 lever arch files marked as follows. 1. Assessments. 2. Framework and policies. 3. Agreements and forms. And 4. PIA manual. Step 2. Very important. Please read Volume 1 to understand the applicability of the Act and the contents of your POPI GRC product. Your first step is to register your information officer. The information officer is defined in the Act as the head of the body. Please remember that the information officer shall be the responsible person overseeing compliance, and therefore also the person liable to any transgressions of the Act. The information officer can appoint a deputy to assist him in his duties. Please refer to our website, www.sensebusiness.co.za, to assist in registering your information officer. Please keep the registration and/or the email sent to the registrar as proof and put it in a lever arch file marked Framework and Policies. Step 3. Appoint the Information Protection Committee, known as the IPC. The IPC is a committee which we suggest should be established to ensure collaboration within the business. The IPC should ideally subsist of the information officer as well as key role players in different sectors of the business, for example someone from human resources, finances, your IT department, etc. It is not necessary to appoint a person from every division, but must there at least be enough people appointed to ensure the requirement for collaboration in the workplace. The directors or top management should complete Volume 4 page 3 labeled, Appointment of IPC. Put this in a separate divider in your Framework and Policies file. Understanding the assessments. Sense has compiled an assessment on behalf of your business in the following categories: Client Management Framework, Procurement Framework, Information Resources Framework, Access Control Activities for Non-Biometric, and Human Resources Framework. These assessments should be adequate for the business sector for which it was provided and can be evaluated again at a later stage. Step 4. The Information Protection Committee must accept the assessments, frameworks and policies. After appointing the IPC must confirm the assessments done. The IPC must sign off on the 5 assessments in Volume 2 of your product. Place this in the lever arch file marked Assessments. Thereafter the IPC must sign off on the framework and policies adopted as contained in Volume 3. Ensure that the IPC understands the contents of the framework and policies they sign. Keep the signed and approved frameworks and policies in your Framework and Policies file. Step 5. Distribute the policies. It is important to distribute copies of the policies to the relevant departments and persons in your business. Create a distribution list for each policy and let the relevant persons sign the list as acknowledgement that they received and, more importantly, understand the policies. File the distribution lists in your Framework and Policies file. The distribution of the policies. See the example below with regards to the distribution of the policies to the relevant departments in your business. The breach of protection of personal information policy must be distributed to all employees and information officer. The client management framework policy must be distributed to all persons dealing with clients. The procurement policy must be distributed to all persons dealing with procurement. The information resources policy must be distributed to persons dealing with IT systems in your business. The access control activities policy must be distributed to security and reception personnel. The human resources framework policy for employees must be distributed in your HR department. The human resources framework policy for recruits must also be distributed in your HR department. And lastly, the use of third-party processors policy must be distributed to all affected employees. Step 6. The PIA Manual. Print your PIA Manual contained in Volume 5 of the POPI GRC product. Keep a copy of the manual in your file marked PIA Manual. The manual must always be available at the main place of business should anyone request inspection thereof. If you have a website, also publish your manual on your website. Make effort to have all of your employees study the contents of your PIA manual. Let's take a brief look at the agreements and forms. We compiled all the necessary agreements and forms to ensure that you obtain proper consent to process personal information from all affected parties in your business. For example, your clients, employees, suppliers, etc. Print Volume 4 and retain the documents in a separate lever arch file marked Agreements and Forms. Step 7. Your employees. Print the employee consent to process personal information, contained in Volume 4 page 5, and the privacy statement, contained in Volume 4 page 22 to 25, and have all your employees sign and initial same. Print the confidentiality undertakings for employees, contained in Volume 4 page 7, and have all your employees also sign same. Print the fair use of information resources undertakings by employees, contained in Volume 4 page 8, and have all your employees sign it. File all of the employee documents in their respective personnel files. Step 8. Access control. If you have access control to your premises, please consider Volume 4 pages 30 to 38. We have included an abridged consent to be displayed at the entrance to your premises at the point of your access control. Keep the privacy statement, contained in page 30 to 33, and consent to process personal information in access control activities and CCTV monitoring, contained in page 35 to 38, always available in your office for inspection should it be requested. Please keep in mind that if you utilize a third party, for instance a security company, to control access, they must also comply and they must provide you with their necessary privacy statements and undertakings. Refer in this instance to Volume 4 page 10 to 13. You have now finished your internal processes by effectively doing the following. You registered your information officer. You set up a committee to help and assure compliance, which we refer to as the IPC. You have done a risk assessment for your business in not only one but 5 different categories. You have evaluated the risks and created a framework to process information in your business. You created policies in accordance with the frameworks to ensure compliance. You had all your employees consent to processing of information, and obtained undertakings from them to ensure that your business shall comply. And you have also created agreements in accordance with your policies. What is next? You should now focus on the external factors of your business, such as clients, suppliers, third-party processors, etc. In the following slides we will discuss the implementation of the external factors of your business. Before we proceed, please take note of the following. It is important to remember that the POPI Act does not allow consent by default. In other words, you will need and have to prove the consent from a data subject to process information. The various emails you received the past few months indicating that you can opt out of the string emails are therefore misconstrued, as each business entity must obtain consent, and, on request, proof that such consent was obtained. Step 9. Client management. Print enough copies of the consent to process personal information, contained in Volume 4, Page 4, and the Privacy Statement, Client Management Framework, contained in Volume 4, Page 14 to 17, and have all new clients sign and initial it. Please note that you should also endeavor on a process to have all existing clients sign these documents as soon as possible. If the paperwork is too excessive, we suggest that you display the Privacy Statement, Client Management Framework on your website or in your business, or make it available to your clients on request. Please keep these consents in a separate file or in your client files. Step 10. Your suppliers. If you have suppliers, agents or contractors providing a service or a product to you, have those suppliers sign the consent, contained in Volume 4, Page 4, and provide them with the Procurement Privacy Statement, contained in Volume 4, Page 18 to 21, and also keep this in your Agreements and Forms file, preferably at the main place of business. Step 11. Information processed or retained by you on behalf of third parties. If you collect, retain or process personal information on behalf of any other business entity, and should they require your privacy statement or confidentiality undertaking, print, sign and provide them with the confidentiality undertaking issued by yourself, which is contained in Volume 4, Page 9. Step 12. Processing of information of clients by third parties on your behalf. If you have suppliers, agents or contractors who collect, retain or otherwise process personal information of your clients on behalf of your business, obtain a signed confidentiality undertaking for external processors, contained in Volume 4, Page 10 to 13, and retain same in your Agreements and Forms file. Undertakings for services like Google and OneDrive can be obtained from their websites. These undertakings must also be filed and retained in your Agreements and Forms file. Step 13. Recruits or job seekers. You must have consent to keep and process any information from a recruit, be it only to receive a CV. If you engage any recruits or job seekers, please inform your HR department to obtain the recruit's consent to process personal information, contained in Volume 4, Page 6, and let them sign the Privacy Statement for Human Resources, Recruits, contained in Volume 4, page 26 to 29. Congratulations! You are now almost done. You have now effectively employed your policies in all sectors of your business. The next step to ensure compliance and maintain compliance can be summarized as follows. Step 14. Maintain compliance. You must conduct regular training with your employees to ensure that they apply the policies correctly. The IPC must meet at regular intervals to consider the current policies and to adopt new policies. Should you endeavor on new projects, an assessment should be done, resulting in new frameworks, policies, and eventually the important contracts. Ensure that the business entities with which you conduct business also complies, and do not be afraid to request their consents and privacy statements. Remember, their non-compliance can cause your non-compliance. And very important, should a breach occur, it is your duty to immediately inform the regulator and the data subject. And lastly, Step 15. You are almost finished. Please visit our website regularly or stay in contact with your reseller to ensure that you stay updated with the newest information. If you are satisfied with the product, please refer your business colleagues to your trusted reseller. Good luck with your endeavors. Greetings from the Sense team.